A flat earther would agree with me,
No.
and they would say that even though the Earth has mountains and valleys, it is still flat.
Well, I don't know what that means. That's obviously false.
Yes, no, it's not. It's true.
It sounds like you want mountains and valleys and still be able to call it flat. Are you a flat earther, Brenda?
Yes.
So you want the mountains and valleys to be flat, so you can be a flat earther. You can say, look at this flat Earth that we live on.
No.
You sound like that's what you want, because I think that's ridiculous, Brenda. That makes it not flat.
I know you do. This is the problem. So, the Earth being flat is true, even though it has hills and valleys.
Lots of people that are listening to this, and I'm pretty sure every one of them heard you say that the Earth is flat. You were making an argument.
I never said the Earth is flat, Bob. I never made an argument for it being flat.
Yes, you did say just because there's mountains and valleys doesn't mean the Earth isn't flat. That's what you said, Brenda.
That's not what I said. I said
you have it on tape.
No, that's not what I said. You don't listen. That's the problem. You don't listen. The Earth being flat is true, even though it has hills and valleys.
The mountains and valleys to be flat, so you can be a flat earther. You can say, look at this flat Earth that we live on. You sound like that's what you want, because I think that's ridiculous, Brenda. That makes it not flat.
I know you do. This is the problem. So, the Earth being flat is true, even though it has hills and valleys. You can't understand that. I get laughed and shouted down. I bring up...
No. They were having a pleasant conversation. I was just listening. Everybody was listening. They were having a good back and forth. And then you come in, fire an insult, saying that we don't understand science, that we're arguing.
And so I didn't hurl any insults.
You didn't make any insults. You didn't insult flat earthers saying we didn't understand science.
I did not say that. So the issue I have is that with a lot of flat earthers, we have people that have no understanding of basic science.
Crow 777 or whoever the guy was that did that, he lives near an airport, and you can time the times that he takes his lunar wave photographs. You can time it to planes taking off.
To an airport. Okay, you said Crow. I debunk Crow. He lives next to an airport.
You can airport.
Bro,
The moon is waving. It's this.
Do you know where Crow lives, Sean? He lives, Sean.
No, I don't know where he lives, but he bunks that. He lives close. Crow 777 or whoever the guy was that did that. He lives near an airport.
Anyway, you led with he lives next to an airport. Do you know where he lives, Sean?
No, I don't know where he lives. But
23. I checked at 23 seconds and a minute and 23 seconds, and the cloud formations are different, and the smokestacks are different.
Well,
they're different. I can see it right in front of me.
It has been. It couldn't be any more debunked.
I checked it myself, and it's different. You have faked those screenshots. I have checked, and I'm convinced that you are a liar, and you have faked those screenshots.
Well,
and it's going to show that you're a liar.
So if I fake them, is that because you're looking at these images and you agree that they are identical?
They do look identical, yes.
Whether or not there is anything, and it got a null result. So I don't. That's what you jumped in with.
Yeah, I jumped in with Michelson-Morley was not an experiment that was done to try to prove or disprove the ether. It was the motion of the Earth.
That's not what
exactly what I said, bro. I'll play it back. It's fine.
Go ahead, Nico.
Yeah, the Michelson-Morley was not to test for ether itself. It was Earth's movement through the ether. So just to make that clear, it's a very large difference and a distinction that needs to be made.
I came here and heard you say 3 times. I came here and heard you say 3 times. There's the only reason I jumped in. I heard you say 3 times that okay, Napalm, you can think, well, if the Earth's not moving, whatever. But if the Earth is in motion, it debunks the ether. You said that 3 times.
I never said that. I never said that it debunked the ether. Don't listen to the tape. You're lying. You're lying. But play the tape back. I want to hear it.
All right, here we go.
I agree with you that just because they didn't detect Earth's movement through the ether, it doesn't mean the ether doesn't exist. But because they were under the impression Earth is moving, it does mean that if Earth is moving, there is no ether.
What's up? Didn't understand that line of sight triangles equal 180. You're not some arbiter of truth in this subject. Trust me. You didn't know that line of sight triangles equal 180.
No, they don't. That's the point. Yeah, Zanik, if you have 3 straight lines forming this triangle, even if they're different altitudes, it doesn't matter. If there's 3 straight lines between the points, then that must form 180 degrees. I don't think it's necessarily what you said.
Well, yeah, so Brian, that's right. So that's why we have to look at it a little even deeper. There's a different dissemination of the angles. So yeah, but triangles, all line of sight will always be at 180.
Yes, agreed. So I think we've both learned something here, Zanik.
Yep, absolutely. That's why
the guy just says anything. It's ridiculous.
And what's funny is like the ballers will just pretend this didn't happen, pretend Zanik didn't just get destroyed. Just be like, let's just move on. Let's just move on.
Pretend he didn't lie.
Science doesn't prove things because that's not the business of science. Relativity explains it, and relativity has been experimentally proven to be a fact. Relativity doesn't prove things because that's not the business of science. No, shut up. No, you don't get to say false shit. Relativity is experimentally proven. Science is not about proof.
Albert Michelson, in his experiment, had set out to detect the absolute motion of the Earth. His days, he never fully accepted the implications of his famous experiment.
Now let me tell you what the facts were.
One is that Michelson, of course, never for the rest of his life believed the results of his own experiment.
He never denied the results.
Wait, how is that?
He did not deny the results. He went to his deathbed
Yeah, he
saying,
did.
I still
He died, he denied.
No, he never denied the results. No, he didn't deny the results. No, Brian, shut up. He didn't deny
Denying
it.
the results of the experiment, bro.
No, you're wrong. He didn't deny it.
Absolutely lowers it in the background. The density lowers that object in the background. And Miles Davis, who's put all those videos out of Trepane law, saying that there's a mountain in the distance and it's lower in perspective than it should be. And I've lined myself up at 210 meters and 210 meters to this tower in the foreground, and then in the background we have this mountain that's lower than it should be. Well, here's your answer on a flat plane, Miles Davis. Here's your answer. These type of observations. Let me bring up his observation for a year at least now, and basically he's lined himself up at 210 meters or so, which is about the height of this central stanchion here on this bridge, and in the background we have these mountains, and the mountains are not in the same position that they should be if you believe you live on a flat plane, right? Okay, well, what's the answer to that? Well, the answer to that is this, the density gradient, and this, nothing's changed apart from the tin has dropped in its position. Game over, Globies. I got around to doing it today, and yeah, it was just everything that I expected it to be, and it absolutely blows their idea of you can measure distant mountains in the background with something in the foreground. It blows it completely out of the water. It's game over for that. They can't argue that anymore.
Now, as I say, I wouldn't have believed this. As I would have thought it was just a one-off. Maybe come up with trying to come up with some kind of explanation, some kind of reason, sinking something like this as to the reason why these mountains appear to be dropped. That can't happen on a flat plane. So,
videos of him jumping off cliffs.
Who is Anik?
Yeah.
No, I don't
He
think
just said he
so.
did. He just said, Joe, I've already showed Gio. Gio knows about me jumping off cliffs. The other day, he was like, dude, I jump off cliffs. That's bullshit. He was talking about gravity. And fucking, of course, he jumps off fucking cliffs.
Like, he's an expert at everything. He's done everything. You know, he skydived, he cliff dives. He ran with the bulls in Spain, like, last...
Zanuck running with the bulls.
Yeah,
Why? You made me promise an apology to you 3 times publicly.
You
give me an apology.
Well, because I was thinking about it in my mind, the word is in my head because you were saying, what did you do in high tech? And I
told y'all, you didn't have any fucking gallium.
And so I said, I misspoke. Yes, I've sky guy. Yes, I've flown airplanes. Yes, I've raced cars. Yes, I played a lot of sports. I did, whatever. I can't tell you other shit because I don't want to dox myself. But yes, I did a lot of shit. Was I ever watching the Olympics? No, I never went to the Olympics. I've been overseas. I've been over to Japan. I've been over there for work. I have high-tech equipment. I've been to the telescope.
What were you competing in the Olympics?
What's that? Well, they made it to the trials.
For what? Like
for
a
sports.
Boy or?
Fuck
for
you.
Sports. Okay.
For sports.
Oh, God. You went to the Olympics for sports.
For sports.
I'll give you a hint. It was track and field, all right?